Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Before starting my video, if you didn't subscribe my channel, please do, and do not forget to turn on notifications as I'm sharing every week great contents for you. Alright guys, in this video we will continue where we left exactly on our previous lesson. We finalized our client service controller and models, everything. Now we will start invoice section. As always, I created my changes and I'm just gonna show what I did to buy some time. These days I'm really busy, so I'm creating the codes and now I'm gonna demonstrate what I did for you. But obviously we're going to go through step by step, guys. Alright, first of all, for an initial start, I'm just going to services, invoice API services, and invoice services that we created previously, and I created two file here, class and interface, invoice service and invoice services. Let's start with the creating our signature. Alright, in this signatures, guys, I just finalized this one. Okay, actually all is completed, but while we were creating our controllers and while we're creating our views, the other ones might have changes because I finished typing creating controller and views for get all invoices by company ID async method, but the rest of them will be prepared later. So just for your information, these selected methods might have changed first of all. Okay, let's go back how I created those signatures. First of all, we going to do the same thing what we did exactly while we were creating our client services. Basically, I opened my API project here as well. I'm just going back services, invoice services, and invoice services. Okay, so these are my responses. What happened here? Okay, my responses. So according to those response, I'm going to create my own signature on MVC site. Okay, let's start with the get all invoices by company ID async. I said this is completed. Why I completed? Because while I was creating the one, it was like this: get all invoices async. Okay, let's start with that one first. Let's get back. Okay, so we have an endpoint and it returns us all invoice list in one go. It doesn't matter which company or which item it has, just sending all invoices in our database. Okay, it's okay. All right, let's take this one first. So I created task list invoices DTO and get all invoices method signature. But when I go my controller, when I creating my design in my MVC section, I need those invoices filtered by company ID, and that's why I change the name get all invoices by company ID async, and I give a parameter integer ID which is a client ID, and we are returning list invoice DTO again, but it's just going to be filtered by company. That's why I'm telling you the rest of them is not ready yet, but we created. I'm gonna show you how we create initial methods. If we need for the future, we're going to touch step by step small with the small changes. We can amend them later, but this one is completed. Alright guys, let's continue with the get invoice by ID async. Let's have a look. Get invoice by ID async, it requires a parameter and return value is invoice DTO. So I gave a parameter and return value is invoice update for remove items DTO. Why it's different? Because we're going to receive the invoice DTO and we're going to convert it in our method. This method, we're going to convert it to invoice update for remove items DTO to able to use this update invoice async. Just this is the initial creation. We might change everything, and also I didn't like the name of this models. I don't know why I create this model with that name. I'm going to check that one as well when it came to finalize these methods in our MVC side, guys. And as you can see, if you typing with me right now, probably you won't have those DTOs. I just basically did same thing what I did our clients. Let's go our models, let's go DTO. We have invoice API DTOs, and we have all folders. Let's open them all. I just created models exactly come from our API models. Okay, let's say, oops, no validations, clients DTO, invoice item DTO, and invoice DTO. Okay, just basically you can take and copy all them in one go, and you don't bother yourself never again. It's up to you guys. Just create the same folders on MVC side, copy the whatever it has, and just add the namespaces. It will be okay. Just do not forget the one thing. While I was adding my, for example, invoice update for remove items DTO, what a long idiot name is that? Okay, I just made those section command line while I was copying. Let's go our API section. Okay, this is the same folder. As you can see, these are private set. If you remember our API project, it's calculated automatically, but we don't need to send these parameters while we using our application. Let me show you what let me show you the expected parameters while we try to update our invoice from our Swagger, and you will understand. Okay, let's update invoice. As you can see, we are asking for just those parameters. So when it comes to the MVC, we don't need those parameters, hopefully. if we need something else different, I told you before, these are not completed, we're going to amend it later. Okay, just make those section command line just in case we might need on the future. Okay, let's go back our invoice services and update invoice async is returns no content, and no content means, guys, we're returning nothing. It's going to be void. So if it's an async, we are marking with the task, and same as remove and same as the other one. You can back and forth with API and MVC project, and you can design your signatures all in one go. After I create that one, I'm just okay, we created our models, we created our signatures. Now I'm heading to my extensions. Here we go. I'm gonna add my service with the HTTP client. We are going to need it while creating our services. Do not forget, create your HTTP client. Alright, let's close that service section. We're done with here. Now let's go to invoice services. Okay, it might be a little confusing before I started. Let me collapse the definitions. First of all, I add my HTTP client, then I add my mapper. Let's go step by step. Just I created a constructor here. Then let's implement your interface. If you just create your these classes and you just inherit your invoice services, you're going to have a red line underneath of this text. Just put your cursor, control dot from your keyboard, and implement interfaces. All signatures will came with an empty body. Okay, now we're going to fill them step by step. Okay, first of all, we are going to send get async request to the API. Exactly same what we did on client section, just a couple of difference. We're going to add some different logic. I'm going to show you, which is this one is fully completed. We're not gonna touch anymore again, but these are, as I told you before, we might touch them to amend changes if it's needed. Okay, so we're receiving our HTTP response message. We are checking if it's a problem or not. Then we're receiving our content, which we are using our private method, convert method, which we created our client section on our previous lesson. Then if you remember, it return us all the invoices. It doesn't matter which client or which item it has. So we did a logic. I add a logic here with a var clause using LINQ methods. The client ID of those invoices, client ID must be equal. The ID comes from my parameter, and I'm gonna convert them to a list, and I'm returning data which is list invoice DTO again. So it's all sorted. Alright, let's continue with the get invoice by ID. Exactly same what we did again on the client side. We're receiving the data and we are converting it, and we convert it to the invoice update, so invoice DTO using mapper, and we are returning update DTO. Sorry, not invoice DTO, invoice update for remove items DTO. I'm gonna change this edit name when it comes to here, guys. Okay, let's continue invoice create DTO. Everything is same. Send a request, convert it, and pass the data to the controller. And do not forget the address. We already defined them in our API project. Let's go back to controllers, invoice controllers. As you can see, I define all addresses here just for you understand easily. All you need to do, add your addresses here, because we add our base addresses in our extensions while we're adding our HTTP client. This is our base address, and the next parameters will continue just after that. Okay, let's close it again. Let's continue with update invoice async. Alright, same as client, just sending a request, and we don't have any return value. Same as the remove one, guys. We just send a request with delete async with the address and parameter. We're checking if it's success or not. That's it. And add invoice items and remove invoice items async methods. We forgot to add async here. Let's add it here. Okay, let's go to services. Perfect. Okay, let me open that one. Same, everything is same. This is a put request. Let's have a look. This is okay, HTTP put. It is a put request, and we're just sending our removes invoice items and adding invoice items with a related DTO. We created our DTOs already, and all we need to do is sending a request, and that's it. Alright, guys, our client invoice services has been completed for now. In this lesson, I'm going to continue with the controllers section. Just for get all invoices section, I'm going to show what I did, and future lesson will continue with the other sections of controller. Let's continue with the controllers. I create an invoice controller file. Let's open it. Okay, basically I add my service, I invoice services, it's already added our dependency injection. Do not forget it. I created an iAction result with the name get all invoices for company, and it is requiring a parameter which is a company ID, and all I need to add a result, await invoice services. The method comes from our services, that one, and I'm passing the ID here. Then right click on it, add view if I already add one, and once you add your view, let's go to view. I just basically copy and paste from my client table, and I just amend the changes here. Is that the correct place? Get all invoices. Let me have a look. Yeah, correct places. Yeah, okay. I just copy and paste from, as I told you before, from my client view, and I change my company name here. Our model is list invoice DTO, and do not forget your model and namespaces. Our model is list invoice DTO. Then it means all invoices, if you remember our API, all invoices has to have a client, right? So I'm just selecting any of them, and I put a question mark here because if it's null, we don't get not to get any error messages. I'll just put a question mark. I'm telling this code line it can be null, don't break my application. And once we select an invoice, it's looking the client property and we're receiving the company name. It is going to show us basically test company invoice list. If we don't have anyone, we're going to prevent the user come this page, but anyway, just in case I use question mark to not to have any error messages. Even if they reach this page, if don't have any invoices, this section will be removed. They're just going to see invoice list. Okay, so this is an extra secure measurement, this question mark. All right, so I added the invoice number, issue date, PO number, net value, VAT value, total amount, and actions, and we will build those actions later. So invoice item ID, invoice number, invoice date, PO number, total weight, and grand total. We match those sections between each other. And I created two buttons which is not created methods yet. The invoice is our controller name, these are our method name. We are passing the ID of the invoice. We're going to create a view invoice. So once we click the view button, we will see the details of invoice, and we're able to add and remove items on it if you would like to do that. And there is a delete button. We will add a complete delete invoice option to the user. And also we have a create invoice section just down there, and all is sorted. Now all we need to connect these invoices with the clients in our view section. How people reach this page, I think a little bit on it, and the best and easy solution for this study purposes project, if you remember, we are listing our clients. Let's have a look. Clients, where's my clients? Yeah, so get all clients here. So I add a new section, new column here, which is called invoices, and I add this data against that column header. So basically this is our secure measurement. If the company have any invoices, the button is going to be invoice list, and it is going to make a request to invoice controller get all invoices for company method we just created with the ID parameter. This is perfect. If there is nothing, if there is no invoices related to this company, so we're going to create another button, create invoice, and the request will be again invoice controller and create invoice method, which is we didn't create yet, we will do on our future lesson. Okay, everything is same. Now I'm going to run the application. Let's see the results, how it's going to look like, and we will talk about what we're gonna do our future lesson, and hopefully you're gonna like it. Okay, to run application, first I'm running the API because we are going to get our information from our API project. API is running now. Now let's run the MVC project. Right, I'm waiting my application to run. All right, as I mentioned before, we're going to do the exceptions and tokens, security measurement, everything later. We're just creating the main structure. Yeah, let's just tap here, clients, and get all clients. As you can see, we have two different company, and one of them has invoices, the other don't have any, don't have any invoices. If we click invoice list here, we will see the invoices created for that company. And if I click it, it's not gonna work because we didn't create this action yet. So our exception handler is working page not found received. All right, basically when we click invoice list, we're going to have two action. So if we click view, we will see the invoice details and be able to amend it if we would like to do it. And if we click delete it, we're going to delete completely the invoice. I'm not quite sure if we delete the client, if it's going to delete all invoices. We can test it anyway. Let's have a look. Let's test it now. By the way, this lesson will be finished a couple of minutes later. This is all for this lesson, guys. I'm just gonna try to. I'm just wonder if I delete all client, all the invoices will be stay here, all gone. I'm just wonder it. Let's have a look. Probably it's going to be deleted. Okay, let's have a look our clients from our API site. So we have two clients. One of them has invoices, the other one doesn't have invoices. Okay, let's have a look our all invoices. We just have one invoice and one item in there. Okay, so let's delete this one. Okay, the company is gone. We don't have this company anymore. And I just wonder, do we have our invoices? It's a really dangerous thing for a company, but it's just study purposes. Okay, let's execute again. So we have just one company left, which has no invoice. Okay, let's execute the invoices. We don't have any invoices. Basically, it's removing all of them. But if you would like to prevent deleting clients if they have any invoices, you can add extra measurement. I'm gonna show you once we finalize our structure, guys. I'm going to show you how can we get some secure measurements. Basically, you can remove delete button if the company have any invoices, but it's just a UI isolation. Or also you can have secure your database using your delete action behavior using EF core migration. I'm going to show all of them step by step. Do not worry about that. Just follow the videos, turn on your notifications, and like the video. I will be here always for you guys. Take care of yourselves. See you on next lesson. Bye bye.